Alright, Shalom. Call hello Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakak with Dash. I want to give a double honors to the elders and the apostles, chiefly of Great Millstone, where I learned this truth from. They're the real prophets of these end times, and if you cleave to them, which is the mouth or the voice of the Most High, then you do have a good shot at salvation. I'd also like to say Shalom to the Israelite foreigners out there, meaning you Israelites that look like these other nations. You might look like a so-called white man or whatever other nation is out there. But if your seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you are indeed an Israelite, because we don't judge according to appearance. You know, you don't have to be a certain color to be a Hebrew Israelite. Therefore, we are not the black Hebrew Israelites. We are just the Hebrew Israelites. I'd like to say Shalom to you Akwaf out there, meaning you sisters that are in order. You know your place. You do your best to be a good wife to your husband and to be good teachers of your children, raising them in the right way in these end times so they don't roam around this earth terrorizing the place and being little demons. Alright, today's lesson, I'm just going to speak on the fact that we should only teach what we know. You know, the Lord has commanded us to go out and teach, teach our people and reprove them and defend the gospel. But, only teach the things that you're capable of comprehending, because everybody is given different levels of understanding in this truth. We are commanded to teach, but it doesn't make any sense to teach the things that you don't understand. So this lesson here today is just to go over a few precepts to prove that we should only teach the things that we are able to understand. And I pray this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect out there. You Israelites that are cleaving to the truth in these end times and seeking to change your ways. You're seeking humility and correction so that you can become the best version of you. It's very important that we teach the correct thing when handling these precepts, because it's very important. Handling the word of the Lord comes with great responsibility. And the Lord doesn't want foolish people and reckless people to be trying to handle these precepts. Because we're living in a time where false prophets are on the rise, going out and deceiving the simple. So without further ado, let's just get into it. So the first precept I'm going to turn to in this lesson is the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 2 and verse 15. And it reads, "Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." So the Lord right here is commanding us to basically study. Do your research. Don't just blindly believe what you're being taught by man. Let the word of the Most High be the truth and every man a lie. So you got to study for yourself. In other words, like it mentions in the book of Philippians chapter 2 and verse 12, it says that you should seek out your own salvation with fear and trembling. It goes hand in hand with this precept right here, where it says, study to show thyself approved. Okay, so you got to study to show what you're made of, show if you're ready, show that you're ready to go out and teach this word, teach these scriptures. So it says, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed. No one will be able to confound you if you're studied up, if you're ready before you go out there and try and face these wolves, man. It says rightly dividing the word of truth. Okay, so you gotta know which precepts to pull out at the right time. You gotta have your sword sharp. You know, you gotta be on top of things, man. You gotta be on point out here. Rightly dividing the word of truth. You know, when somebody comes at you with some nonsense, some folly, or they come at you with a lack of understanding, you can bust out certain precepts that will snare them. This is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 5 through 7. It says, "Now the end of the commandment is charity out of a pure heart." And what it means there is when you're doing a service to the Lord as far as teaching this word to our people, that is an act of charity. That is a sacrifice you're making for our people to wake up out of their slumber, you know? It's a form of charity. It's a form of showing love to your people. So let me read that from the top again. It says, "Now the end of the commandment is charity out of a pure heart," meaning that you need to be teaching this word for the right reasons, out of a pure heart, not through strife or vainglory, which is what we're seeing a lot of these days that we're living in. You know, as we get closer to the end, you're seeing people fall out. You're seeing people get rebuked, and then they can't handle that rebuke that they're given. So their whole motive of teaching the word now is to fight against the ones that they learned from. You know, they're teaching out of strife. They're not teaching out of a pure heart. They're not sending up a sacrifice to the Lord out of a pure heart. Their sacrifice stinks. You know, they're not showing charity out of a pure heart. Let me read on. It says, "And of a good conscience, and of faith unfeigned." It says, "From which some, having swerved, have turned aside into vain jangling." You know, there's some people out there, some bug outs that have turned from the correct way, that have turned from the path of understanding, and they've turned aside unto vain jangling, meaning, you know, their work is in vain. You know, they're out here teaching things that aren't edifying the sheep. They're just trying to heap up followers for themselves. You know, people trying to start their own movement or start their own version of the truth. Verse 7, it says, "Desiring to be teachers of the law, understanding neither what they say, nor whereof they affirm." So basically what this is saying is that you got people out here that are desiring to be teachers of the law, but they don't understand what they're teaching. They're just doing it for vainglory, or they're just doing it for strife. You know, you got people out here that just want to look all intelligent or want to impress the ladies, or whatever the case may be. But the Lord ain't stupid, man. The Lord weighs up your intentions, you know, the intents of your heart. The Lord sees all of that. All right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 5, we'll start at verse 9. It says, "Winnow not with every wind, and go not into every way. For so doth the sinner that have a double tongue." Meaning, don't be swayed around by different winds of doctrine, man. Don't be believing everything that's taught to you. You know, all kind of bugged out different philosophies and different understandings of these scriptures. Don't be cleaving to everybody and getting all confused and going out there and sowing even more confusion amongst the brethren, man. Verse 10, it says, "Be steadfast in thy understanding, and let thy word be the same." Meaning, don't be changing. You know, don't be double-minded in this truth. You know, hold fast unto what you've learned, unto the doctrine that you've learned. Don't let anybody sway you or change you from what you know to be true. You know? Verse 11, it says, "Be swift to hear, and let thy life be sincere, and with patience give answer." Meaning, you need to be more swift to hear than to speak. You know, when people are teaching you, don't be giving out the sacrifice of fools like that, man. Meaning, don't be so quick to try and give your opinion. You know, do more listening than talking. It says, and let thy life be sincere, meaning teach this truth with a sincere heart, you know? And it says, and with patience give answer, meaning don't be so quick to just give an answer just because you want to give an answer. If you need to take the time to go and, sharpen up on your understanding a bit, if somebody asks you a question, you ain't 100% sure of how to answer it, go do a quick little study on that topic and then get back to them. Be patient to give an answer. Make sure that you answer correctly and take all the time you need to make sure that their question is answered correctly. Verse 12, it says, if thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. If not, lay thy hand upon thy mouth. And that's self-explanatory, and that's the highlight of these 4 precepts that I've just read. This is the main point right here in verse 12. It says, if thou hast understanding, answer thy neighbor. So if you don't have the understanding of a question that's been asked to you, lay your hand upon your mouth, meaning just be quiet. Even if you're looking foolish because, you don't have all the answers or whatever. Hey, it's better to look foolish in the sight of men than to be considered a fool in the Most High's eyes, and bring upon yourself destruction for teaching lies, okay, and for mishandling these precepts. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 3 and verse 25. It says, without eyes thou shalt want light. Profess not the knowledge, therefore, that thou hast not. Now, the point of this precept is in the second part where it says, profess not the knowledge, therefore, that thou hast not. Meaning, if you don't have the understanding of a certain topic, of a certain story or parable or whatever in these scriptures, then don't act like you got the knowledge. Don't profess that you have knowledge that you don't have. Don't seek out the things that are too deep for you, man. You end up looking stupid out here. This is the book of Job, chapter 27 and verse 4. It says, my lips shall not speak wickedness, nor my tongue utter deceit. And that's quite straightforward right there. We need to make sure that our lips do not speak wickedness. Don't slander your brother. Don't speak evil of your mother. Don't backbite people. All these type of things is what that precept is saying. Don't speak wickedness. Basically, it's saying not to let your tongue utter deceit. If you don't understand a certain precept, you don't understand what you're teaching, then don't teach it, because that will be considered your tongue uttering deceit. And every idle word, man, the Lord will judge you for. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 12. I'm going to start at verse 36, read through 37. It says, but I say unto you that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. For by thy words thou shalt be justified, and by thy words thou shalt be condemned. So the words that you speak are very important. And everything you speak that's considered an idle word, meaning you just winging it. You just freestyling, you just coming off the top of your head with a whole bunch of nonsense trying to sound clever because you don't want to look like you ain't got the answers, because you don't want to take the L, because your pride won't allow you to look like you aren't that guy. You know what I mean? You trying to be on a level of the elders and the apostles that you learned from, when really you ain't. Every idle word, it says, that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. The Lord gonna judge you for that. So, it's very important to, tame your tongue, man. speak when it's wise to do so. You don't always have to have an answer for every question out there. The scriptures say to study to show yourself approved, but that doesn't mean that you have to have an answer for everything, because we aren't expected to know it all. The men of the Lord, we understand all things spiritually, but there are some things in these scriptures that we ain't quite ready for. You just have to accept that. We don't know it all. Everybody has different levels of understanding, but I highly doubt there's any man that knows everything in these scriptures, man. There's just way too much to understand. In verse 37, it says, "For by thy words shalt thou be justified, and by thy words shalt thou be condemned." So the words that you speak are very important. You'll be judged by those words, whether they be right or whether they be wrong. It's the book of Matthew chapter 15. I'm going to start at verse 10, read through 11. It says, "And he called the multitude and said unto them, Hear and understand. Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth the man." Now a simple Christian out there will, they'll use this precept to justify eating a damn sodden monkey or something. They look for a reason to justify their wickedness. They err not knowing the scriptures because they're taught by the blind. They're the blind being led by the blind to their utter destruction. So it says, "Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man." This isn't talking about food. It says, "But that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth a man." So if you're out here consuming all types of different knowledge out there, hey, that's fine. It's risky, but you can do it if you want. You might be able to take the meat from the bone as far as storing up edification for the truth's sake. But if you're out here teaching certain philosophies and certain doctrines that are not according to sound doctrine, then that's what defiles you. Let me just jump to a quick precept to kind of back this up a little bit more. All right, this is the book of Proverbs chapter 15 and verse 14. It says, "The heart of him that hath understanding seeketh knowledge, but the mouth of fools feedeth on foolishness." So that's what you're feeding on when you have certain things going in your mouth, like the previous precept described. It's not that which goes in your mouth, but that which comes out your mouth. So it says here, "But the mouth of fools feedeth on foolishness." Philosophies and different doctrines and folly and all that type of stuff, entertainment, things that are vain and foolish. That's what people can feed on. You can feed on folly all you want, but don't let that folly come out your mouth and defile the truth, man. All right, this is the book of Proverbs chapter 15, and I might as well just start at verse 2. It says, "The tongue of the wise useth knowledge aright, but the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness." So if you want to be considered a wise person, then you need to use knowledge aright, meaning you need to rightly divide the word of truth, man. It says, "But the mouth of fools poureth out foolishness," meaning you're speaking things that you don't even understand. You're just talking a whole bunch of nonsense. And that's dangerous, man. I got a quick precept that comes to mind real quick. 1 second. All right, this is the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and verse 3, and I'll read through 5. It says, "And they sang as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth." The 144,000 is the elect of the nation of Israel, 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes, a perfect order. And that new song that they're singing before the throne, which is on earth, heaven is the Lord's throne and the earth is his footstool. and the footstool is before the throne. So here on earth, they sang as it were a new song, which is this doctrine, coming under the name of Yahweh and the name of Yahushai. This is that new song. And no man is able to have this understanding except the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Verse 4, it says, these are they which are not defiled with women. And the women it's talking about is the philosophies, different winds of doctrine and stuff like that. It says, for they are virgins. And that's not talking about a physical virgin, meaning you've never laid down with a woman. That's not what that's talking about. Find me a man on this earth that is a virgin, that understands the true doctrine. You won't find it. And if you do, it's probably really rare. It says, these are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. Okay, because the virgins are the ones that are following the true doctrine. They're not defiled with women. They're not defiled with other doctrines. Okay, that's what that's talking about. They're not going a whoring after different doctrines. It says, these were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and to the Lamb, meaning these people are holy. They're separate from this world. They don't partake in the things of this world like that. They're totally devoted to the Lord and they follow him anywhere he will go. Verse 5, it says, and in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of the Most High. So the elect are going to be teaching the correct doctrine. They're not going to be out here teaching lies. They're not going to be out here giving their own vain opinions. Because if they were to do any of those things, then in their mouth would be found guile. But in the mouth of the elect is found no guile, because they're teaching 100% truth. All right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 5. I'll start at verse 1. It says, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of the Most High, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. So like I said earlier, be more ready to hear than to, be out there just uttering anything, just speaking all kind of madness, Be more humble and, ready to hear and take notes and do your own research rather than out here giving your own weird, vain opinions. The Bible calls that the sacrifice of fools. And for instance, for an example, should I say, you got people that will jump on a person's comment board on their posts and just be talking all kind of madness. Being loose with the tongue, man, just not really thinking before they speak. And they'll just utter anything on your comment board just to try and be a scoffer or try and be funny. And they consider not that they do evil. So it says, keep thy foot when thou goest to the house of the Most High. Okay, so when us brothers are out here on the highways and hedges and on the internet, on social media, and we're teaching, we're out here trying to wake our people up. Don't be coming in our comment board with a whole bunch of madness and confusion, man. Keep your foot before you come to the house of the Lord. Verse 2, it says, be not rash with thy mouth, and let not thine heart be hasty to utter anything before the Most High. Think before you speak, in other words, man. Especially when dealing with this truth. It says, for the Most High is in heaven, and thou upon earth. Therefore let thy words be few. I wasn't going to read verse 3, but I might as well, for edification's sake while I'm here. It says, for a dream cometh through the multitude of business, and a fool's voice is known by the multitudes of words. So the point is in the second part of that where it says, and a fool's voice is known by the multitude of words. Meaning you ain't got to be out here just giving your life story to try and get to the point, man. Jake's attention span is quite small, so you wanna make things short and sweet, man. Get to the point and move on. You don't want to be out here talking people's ear off, wasting their precious time, all in vain, not giving them any sort of edification. Get to the point, and make it clear what you're teaching. You don't need to be using many words like that. Try not to anyway, but to the best of your ability. All right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 1, verse 29. It says, "Be not an hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest." So you don't want to be out here, doing exactly what you're teaching the brethren not to do in the sight of men, because then no one's going to ever take you serious. You just lost all power when you're teaching the truth. I mean, the words that you're teaching might be powerful, but if they're coming from somebody that's been known to be a hypocrite, ain't nobody gonna take you serious, man. You've lost all power in your speech. This is the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 12. I'll start verse 36, read through 38. It says, "Thou only hast been meet to know the secret of the highest." And that's talking about the elect. The Lord has only let the elect understand the secrets of the Lord, man. The secrets of the Bible. It's not for all these Christians and all these other people that think they understand what the Bible's saying. It ain't for them. It's for the one who the Lord chose to understand. It says, "Therefore, write all these things that thou hast seen in a book and hide them." Okay. It says, "And teach them to the wise of the people, whose hearts thou knowest may comprehend and keep these secrets." So we're supposed to teach these precepts to somebody that we perceive to have knowledge, man. Some general knowledge of the scriptures. Not somebody that doesn't believe in the Bible. What are you teaching them for? What's the point in trying to convert somebody that has no understanding at all of the scriptures? Because if they're at a certain age in life and they have no understanding or no desire to understand the Bible, then it's too late for a person like that. They've already shown who they are. They already show that they don't give a damn about the Bible. If you really cared about the Bible, it would be in you from a young age, man. You wouldn't have to be taught the basics as a grown man. Don't waste your time on people like that, man. It says, teach them to the wise of the people. The wise of our people. Which you can't tell who's our people by appearance. So just teach the Bible. Don't matter who they are, teach the Bible. As long as you perceive them to have some level of wisdom and understanding, man. Because you never know, man. Somebody might look like a heathen and they may have more understanding than somebody that you perceive to be our people. By appearance and all that. So teach people that in your heart they'll probably get it, if you get what I'm saying. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 32, verse 8. It says, "Let thy speech be short, comprehending much in few words, and be as one that knoweth and yet holdeth his tongue." So, like I said earlier, you don't need a multitude of words, man, to get your point across. Try and make it short and sweet. Think about Jake's attention span. You don't want to bore people or waste people's time. If people are taking the time out to hear what you got to say, you better make that time worthwhile, man. It ain't all about just teaching. You got to teach with wisdom too. Me personally, the way I do my lessons, I chop out all the bits where I'm searching for precepts and stuff like that. Why should people have to sit around and wait for you to look for a precept? And that's just something that I do, because I'm considerate about trying to keep my lessons flowing, keep them watchable, keep people's interest, keep people locked in is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not saying that everybody out there that's teaching needs to do what I do. I'm just saying that I do that because I'm considerate of people's time. You know, if they're going to take their time to watch my lessons, I want to make it sure it's worth their while and that they're getting as much edification that they can in a short period of time. I'm not about wasting people's time, especially if they've taken the time to, listen to what I got to say. It's my way of showing my appreciation for them for taking the time to watch my video. But it says, let your speech be short, comprehending much in few words, get to the point. Short and sweet, bam, just bang it out, Bang out that knowledge and education and wisdom and move on to the next, you know what I mean? You don't have to make things really long. It says, be as one that knoweth and yet holdeth his tongue. Know when to speak. Sometimes it's best not to say anything at all. It's about utilizing wisdom. Sometimes, you might have the answer to something, but maybe it ain't the right time to give that answer. Or maybe somebody's speaking and they think they know the answer to a certain precept and they're out here looking stupid. Hey man, just sit back and let them look stupid. Hold your tongue, even if you know the answer. Sometimes that's good to see what other people are about. See how full of shit people are and stuff like that. Verse 9, it says, if thou be among great men, make not thyself equal with them. And when ancient men are in place, use not many words. The ancient men are the elders and the apostles that teach these precepts, teach the correct doctrine. When they're in place, when they're out there on the highways and hedges, and they're out here edifying our people, use not many words. It says, make not yourself equal with them. Just because you got a little bit of knowledge, don't let that puff you up. Scriptures say knowledge puffeth up. But, don't let that make you think that you're on the level of the people that you learn from. Humble yourself, man. You gotta always look to the next man as better than yourself, if you get what I'm saying. That's a way of showing humility. If you be around great men, make not yourself equal with them. And when ancient men are in place, use not many words. Be running off the mouth like some foolish man. All right, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 7. It says, go from the presence of a foolish man, when thou perceiveth not in him the lips of knowledge. So if you're out here, you got a post, like I'm just using this for an example because this happens to me a lot, but I'm on Instagram. So if I post a post on Instagram and somebody comes in my comment board with some foolishness, man, when you perceiveth not in him the lips of knowledge, when you see that this man is a bug out, it says, go from the presence of a foolish man. Avoid somebody like that. Mark them, avoid them. Okay? Some people, they can't get it. They're ever learning and never able to come into the knowledge of the truth. Just avoid people like that, man. That's a stench. All right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 22 and verse 13, and this is a precept to what I just brought out in the book of Proverbs 14 and 7. And it says, talk not much with a fool, and go not to him that have no understanding. It says, beware of him, lest thou have trouble, and thou shalt never be defiled with his fooleries. It says, depart from him, and thou shalt find rest, and never be disquieted with madness. Okay? Because their madness will rub off on you, man. Depart from people that are unclean. They got spirits on them and stuff, man. What business you have around a person like that? You need to keep yourself around brothers that have the understanding, that you can learn from, that you can benefit from. These other people out here with all these bugged out philosophies and doctrines, which is many many of our people that claim to be in the truth, you'll find a lot of them are full of crap. They're full of crap, man. I'm gonna read that one more time. Talk not much with a fool, and go not to him that have no understanding. So if a man is on your comment board and he's coming all kind of, hey, don't go back and forth with a man like that. If he's coming with all kind of madness and stuff, don't go back and forth with him. You're gonna make yourself look stupid. Let him look stupid, not you. It says, talk not much with a fool, and go not to him that have no understanding. And you avoid people like that. It says, beware of him, lest thou have trouble. And thou shalt never be defiled with his fooleries. You know, if you beware of him, you'll never be defiled with his fooleries. Depart from him, and thou shalt find rest, and never be disquieted with madness. Okay? It's a powerful precept there. I got one more precept I'm going to close this lesson out with. And I hope you've been edified by this lesson, you know. It's very important to avoid foolish people that are speaking all kind of madness. You need to stick to the doctrine that you know is true. And you need to only teach what you know. You know, if you don't know a certain thing, then study. Study to show yourself approved. You know, get your level up, man. Get on the level of understanding, you know. But only teach the things that you do understand. It's very important. Don't think you just gotta have an answer for everything. It's okay to just be quiet, to blank them, you know. And if you're not ready to answer a certain precept, go back and do your research and then come back. You ain't gotta give an answer right away. You know, it's best to get to them as soon as possible, as soon as you can. But if you ain't got the answer, you ain't got the answer, man. The Lord will be more pleased with you if you keep your mouth shut than you out here thinking you got to answer every question. You're just winging it. All right, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 26, and verse 4. It says, answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou be also like unto him. Like I said earlier, if a man's on your comment board with all kind of bugged out mess he's talking about, don't go back and forth with him. Don't even answer him. Don't acknowledge it, man. It's all vain. Answer not a fool according to his folly, lest thou also be like unto him. You'll be out here looking foolish too. It says, answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit. Meaning, answer him accordingly. If he's coming with foolishness, hey, you give him he's coming with a stupid question, give him a stupid answer. You know, put him in his place unless he be wise in his own conceit. You know, you're out here stumbling or you know, going back and forth with a man that's a fool. You're going to be making him thinking that he's the man. He's going to be thinking he's wise in his own conceit, man. You're just boosting his ego. Yeah, look at me, I'm confounding him. Yeah, I got him. I'm making him look silly. He ain't on no level. You know, this is what they're thinking in their head, man. Because you got all kind of demons out here that care more about trying to look wise and knowledgeable than the actual truth. You know, they feed in their own belly, man. Their God is their own belly. All right, I'm going to close out here, man. I think the point is made. You know, I try to keep this short and sweet and to the point. And hopefully you people out there have been edified. All right, on to the next one. Shalom.